welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to put out a video about things we found during our home inspection for our new home in Jamaica. So I did put a video out that was actually during the actual inspection, but going back, looking at the list, looking at the little things we found after the inspection that Kim Tech fixed, I just want to give you a more comprehensive list. So if you are taking possession of a new home, you have a better idea of what you want to check during these inspections and in the months after. So as you guys know, we bought a home in Stonebrook Manor, which is a Chemtech development. So all this information I'm giving you guys is based on the home that we took possession of in September by Chemtech. So all right, first off, we had chipped and broken tiles inside. So they installed the tiles, and then when other work was being done, maybe something got dropped on the tile and it chipped. So that's definitely something to look for. I also noticed in the corner of the living room, we have a bay window in our living room, so it's kind of an odd shape, and there was a tile missing. It was a tile about this big, a triangle piece that needed to be fitted right at the window on the floor. So just kind of when you go around, it's always good to have a few sets of eyes and just check out the tiles, make sure they're not chipped or broken, and make sure that nothing is missing, especially in the corners or against the wall. So another thing, the kitchen and bathroom cabinets, make sure they all close properly. Sometimes they might get in a hurry and the door isn't completely tightened, or maybe it isn't hung quite level or straight. And then when you go to close the doors, they might rub together or not close all the way or close properly. So make sure you check that. Same thing with the closet doors. We found that some of those didn't fasten in tightly when you went to close it. They weren't matching up right, so they were not closing. So make sure you check the closet doors. Also, along the lines of tiling in the bathrooms, if you have a shower that's tiled out, not the porcelain tub, but the actual tile shower, make sure that the water drains properly. So sometimes when the tiles are laid, the angle that they're at will make the water settle in a certain corner maybe of the shower. We found this issue at both of our houses, both in Drex Hall and Stonebrook Manor. So what we did, my husband actually, he would run the water for like 2 or 3 minutes and let it get a good amount of water and see how it ran off and if it drained properly. And if the water is settling in one place, then they can adjust the tiles so that it drains properly, and then you don't have water settling, which can cause problems. You could slip and fall, you know, things like that. So you want to make sure that those tiles are laid properly. Also, the veranda tiles, same thing. If it rains, make sure that the water is flowing off the veranda and it's not settling in a corner or a certain spot on the veranda, because over time that will cause you problems. So they can set those tiles and make sure that they're level and draining how they should. Also the mesh or the screens on the windows, make sure that you have all those. Sometimes those are little things that get put in at the last minute, I think, and sometimes they forget and they don't get put in. They're very easy to put in, quick to put in, but very important, especially if you like to have the windows open in the evening or during the day to kind of air out the house. You want to make sure you have those screens, the mesh in. The light fixtures, make sure you check those. We found one, I believe it was in the bathroom, where the light fixture was supposed to be secured with 2 screws, but only one was screwed in, and it was kind of swinging back and forth when we touched it. So make sure that all the light fixtures are secure, as well as the on-off switch for the light in each room. Make sure that that's secure. There was some touch-up paint that was needed. That's a very minor thing, but check that also if you have anywhere that's scratched or has marks. Check the toilets. So something we did, we were there at the house a few different days, and we would just use different bathrooms just to make sure that everything was working. And one of the toilets was wobbly. It was not properly set into the floor or attached properly to the floor, so it was wobbly. So make sure that is checked, and then also the tank of the toilet, make sure it's real solid. The shower fixtures were not tight or sealed, so this is kind of a big deal because if the bottom handle where you actually turn on the shower to make the water hot or cold, it wasn't fixed properly to the tile and it was not sealed at all. So water could get in there and cause mold and rot out over time. So make sure that all those things in the bathroom are sealed. Also in the kitchen, check that too, where the faucet is, to make sure that it's sealed properly so you don't get water going down into the cabinet or behind the counter where the tile meets the counter. Make sure that, or the backsplash, make sure that everything is sealed off because you don't want water getting in there and ruining it over time. We did find a few cracks in the walls, so that's something they can fix really easily. When the house starts to settle, it can crack. So if you have any of those, let them know. I suggest running water in the whole house for about 10 minutes straight each day that you're there. And then check to make sure there's no leaks, that nothing is going wrong, that you don't have any busted pipes, things like that. Just let the water run and see what happens. See if you have any issues or leaks. Also the light bulbs. When you get light bulbs, put them in the fixtures, make sure everything is working. When you get the house, it probably won't have light bulbs. So if you bring a few with you during the inspection or the few days after, if you put that in, just make sure that everything's working. And from an electrical standpoint, you don't have any issues with any of the light sockets. It's a good idea when you're at the new house to try to be there on a day it rains. I know that's hard to plan around sometimes, but when we were in Trelawney and took possession of our home, it was actually raining quite a bit. It was in September and it rained almost every day we were there. So we were able to see how the water runs off the yard and if there are any places that it settles in the yard. So this is a good opportunity. Obviously, please, please, please get a gutter system at your house so you don't have water settling at the foundation that can ruin it over time. But also this is good to see for your landscaping, how the water runs in your yard. When you get your home, make sure that the yard is, if they're giving it to you as dirt, and it's not landscaped, make sure it's turned over and that it's level. They're supposed to level out the lot and make sure that everything is ready to be landscaped, ready for the grass seed or whatever you're going to put in. And that is really, all that I had on my list. I would say when you're going through your home inspection, it's sometimes easy to get excited and overwhelmed by the new house because it is an exciting thing. I mean, a lot of times you wait over a year to get these houses and wait for them to be built. So it's super exciting. But make sure that you go through the house with an eye for detail. If you have friends that you want to bring along or, a family member, bring a couple people along and just, see if they catch anything that might need to be fixed. You typically have 6 months to report any defects or repairs that needed to be made to the developer. So make sure you take advantage of that. For example, we have a full-time, long-term renter in our house in Stonebrook Manor right now. So I've made it really clear to him, like, please don't hesitate to tell me if something is wrong because it is a brand new house. There may be things that need to be fixed and we can get that done by the developer. For example, the other day he sent me a message that the solar hot water heater on top of the home, he said he noticed that it was leaking. So he sent me a picture of it. And my husband reached out to the gentleman, Ronaldo. He's a really great guy over there at Chemtech. And he went to take a look at it. And he said, I think I know what the problem is. A lot of the homes are having problems where the water pressure is so high that the water is coming into the solar hot water heater too strong, and then it leaks. So you have to put in this extra valve to kind of slow down the flow of water and make the water pressure decrease before it gets to the solar heater. So that's something that we never would have known or been able to relay to the developer if our tenant hadn't let us know. So whether you're living there or you have a tenant living there, make sure you try to let them know, please let us know if anything goes wrong, if anything needs to be fixed, because you want that to be done by the developer. Because if you get past the first 6 months, chances are you will have to deal with any repairs or updates on your own. So I would say just have an eye for detail when you're going through the house, and just look for things that might be wrong. And open all the cabinets, flush all the toilets, run all the water. If you can be out there on a day that it rains, that's a really great thing. You see a lot of things when it rains at the house, like how the water settles on the veranda and how it runs off the yard. So those are all really important things to know. So hope this information was helpful. If you guys have taken possession of a new home and you found different things wrong, leave them in the comments, because that can help somebody else kind of, catch those issues at their house, or be aware that that might be something that they need to look for. So hope it was helpful, and I will see you all next time.